Excited to get season started here with the staff and group of players, and to have a staff and the retention of a staff that I'm super proud to be a part of. Not just who these guys are and what they stand for, but the chemistry we have together, combined with the experiences we have, not just together on this field, but 340 plus years of games between us, myself and the 10 assistants, and when you add Coach McNeil in there, it goes up dramatically. But it's a group that cares a lot about each other. Talk about our coaching staff. Likes to have a good time together, work hard, play hard, and does things for the right reasons. And so I'm excited to start this journey with them. And while it's true that we are a team with a lot of new players, the most I've ever had, I think it's 42 right now, it's also one of the closest group of guys I've been around, and that's unique. Which really goes back to what our January, when I walked in that team room for the first time and felt, or saw, I guess, how many new faces there were, that we had a lot of work to do off the field and on the field. And it's really been one of the biggest and most fun challenges I've had outside of a season. Building a team not just from a talent standpoint, but the chemistry standpoint. You talk about 17 guys coming in from the portal, and the high school guys that came in, and then the additional guys that have walked on the football team. It's been a fun chemistry experiment. It's really what it is. It's a lot of different people, a lot of different backgrounds, experiences, failures, successes, and one goal, is to come together as a team and be the best team we can be and be a championship roster. And that's really been our goal since we started this journey, is to put together the best group of guys that we can, and I've enjoyed it, and you do that with sweat equity, how hard you work in the off season together, going through those challenges. Coach Thunder and his staff do so well through the summer, and then getting to know each other, being really intentional as a head coach about time in the meeting room, not just on football, but about life, and talking about life, talking about things that have happened, talking about hardships, talking about heroes, being very vulnerable with each other and opening up and reflecting, on things that have happened, things that we can learn from, learning from the past, but being in the present, and taking the guys camping in the woods, bringing in different speakers, all these different things, has accumulated into a really fun group to be around. And it's been fun to see them respond and work hard together and embrace what we're trying to do. And we look forward to the season, whatever the season is. The obstacles that come, as you guys know, you can never predict all the things you have to face, but doing it together. Very excited to be in Carter Finley for the opener, and thankful to our fans that have bought in, and to have a sold-out season, not just opener, says a lot. It says a lot, and really looking forward to that, getting these guys in there and feeling that environment. And I love you guys for that. It means so much. And student section, can't wait to see our students, and a lot of new students, one of the biggest freshman classes in school history. And so getting them to be a part of what game day is all about. And I would just say, to our fans, that one of the beautiful things about NC State is our Wolfpack mascot, that we are a pack, and we're not a singular thing. It's a bunch of individuals, a bunch of people from all over the place that are a family. And game day has turned into entertainment in a lot of ways. All these sporting events you go to, man, they're incredible. And our light show and our fireworks and the flyovers and the Jumbotron and the sound system, and that's all true. But it's still a bunch of 18 to 23-year-old guys down there work really hard, a coaching staff that works really hard, that are out there trying to do their best to win games. And I think the one thing I've learned over time is we can have a 12th man. We have one of the greatest game day atmospheres when we get that thing going the right direction. And just for our fan base and our students and everybody, man, we need you on your feet at the right times. We need you loud in the key moments, the third downs when our defense is trying to stop somebody, the red zone when our defense is trying to stop somebody, the celebrations after big plays that we make, and then understanding when our offense is on the field, letting them hear each other, be loud at the right times. And yes, it is about entertaining the fans, but it's more entertaining when we win. And so that home field advantage needs to be that. We're not asking for your criticism on game day. We're asking for your support on game day. And so many times you see, and I go to games too. I go to NFL games and high school games, and man, it's like everybody knows what the coach should be doing. Everybody knows what the player should have done, and you don't. I'm not criticizing you. You're trying to be a fan. But if you want to help us win, criticize the opponent and support the players and support the coaches and encourage them and allow them to have that backing. And I think that's something we can be better at. And I'm so thankful to our fans for the support and what they do. But this is, we're riding a wave right now, man. I think one of the coolest things I was able to be a part of was at the men's basketball Elite Eight game in Dallas. I'm in the section there where the parents of the men's basketball team were around me, and I could just hear them cheering for each other's kids throughout the game. I mean, it was so cool to hear DJ Burns' dad screaming at other players in a positive way throughout the game, encouraging them. And that's what One Pack, One Goal is in my mind. It's a united mission to win a championship, and that's everybody that works here, everybody that cheers for us. And all of us are a part of winning a championship. And you all got to feel what that's like. This offseason with so many of our sports, so proud of them. And so let's go together into this march of 4 months of football, which could turn into 5 months of football now. It's the longest football season in college football history coming up, going all the way into the second academic semester, first time ever. And so it's going to be a lot. And so we ask for everybody to understand that, and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm excited, very excited, to have a football team like we do, a staff like we do, and a fan base like we do. And let's get the stadium rocking. Let's make it really hard for these other teams. And our students, you guys are the heartbeat. You're the pulse of game day. You really are. And so remember that. Get out there and have fun and get those people up. With our football team, I love the way that our transfers have integrated into our team. I was worried about that, and we worked really hard to single out the right type of guy. We call them our kind of guys, but guys that fit not just our team, but the mantra that we have of working. And I also love how our returners have embraced those guys, and it's really been fun to see what they do, together, and how they've come in, the older players, and just jumped right in the middle of it. And in some ways enhanced, some things in some ways changed for them. And it's about earning trust, as a coach, and player to player, player to coach, coach to player. And there's really been open arms in that from all sides. I love the way our captains were voted on. There was a lot of guys on our team that earned votes, but I spoke a lot to the team about what leadership looks like, and having guys that really walk the walk. And we got to see a great vision of that last year with Peyton, not just as a football player, but how he stood up for teammates, how he played on the field, how he talked about his teammates, and all those things. I thought it was incredible to be a part of. And I'm proud of Davin Van and Grayson McCall, Zeke Carell, and Sean Brown for getting the most votes. And there's a lot of guys that got some. There's a lot of good leadership, and you got to see that throughout the offseason with guys leading their position groups, with Aiden White and Devin Boykin in the secondary, and Caden Fordham and Betty at the linebackers, and Jordan Waters. And see Tim McKay at the offensive line, Anthony Belton. There's so many of them, the guys have really developed that way. And so that's part of this as a coach, because leadership is easy when things are good, as you know, the adversity is going to happen at some point, and that's when the leaders got to be their best, from myself down. Talk about our first opponent, Western Carolina, 7-win team last year. They were the #1 offense in 7 statistical categories in FCS last season. They did a tremendous job offensively, scored a ton of points. And their quarterback returns, and he's a coach's kid, Cole Gonzalez. I know his father well. Billy's a really good receiver coach. And you can see that Cole's a coach's son. He's a leader. He understands the game. He manages the game. He gets the ball in playmakers' hands. They run a very fast, up-tempo system, which you guys see a lot. They get the ball in space to playmakers. They got a head coach that's a vet. He's coached at a lot of places and he's done a great job. He's done a really good job with this program, bringing Western Carolina up to where they are. And I'm excited to see us play. The game obviously is coming quick, and game days where it's a gift, and these kids work really hard for 12 guaranteed opportunities to play, which means they're training for 340 plus days to play 12, and the games bring out the truth. They're really opportunities to see where you're at. It's not an indication of where you're going to end up by any means, but that first game tells you a lot. And I've always felt that in college football, pro football, a lot more games are lost than won. Self-inflicted things, and that's something we've worked really hard on as a football program. I don't know if I've ever spent more time on situational football. As you know, the 2-minute warning is new to college football. And so all these different things, from helmet communication to the sideline tablets to the 2-minute warning, really helping our guys be in as many game-like situations where we can go through those steps and be ready for them. And to be the best team that we can be, we have to put a premium on eliminating self-inflicted things, and that's execution and unforced errors. Is really what you're talking about. And things that matter, as you know, and it's really been a big thing here: turnover margin and explosive plays, and then the pre and post snap penalty piece of the game. And playing really good on special teams. Like, those are the things that we put a lot of time into. You talk about our roster in general, it's an interesting group of guys. You look at the O-line in particular, I think it's the oldest offensive line room I've had. We have 7 guys that are grads in there. 4 of them are starters. And so they have a lot of college time, a lot of experience under their belt. And I like that. I think it's really a thinking position. And so it's going to be fun to have that kind of experience there. Coach 2J and Coach and I work really well together with that front. But Anthony Belton had the best training camp he's had. Anthony Carter really improved himself this offseason. Zeke Carell comes in, gets voted captain. Started 30 games at his previous school and has a chip on his shoulder to finish his career the right way. Tim McKay really worked hard this offseason on things he wants to improve, moved from tackle to guard mid-season, and now has a body of work that he knows how to work with. And then Jacarius Peak, again, who became a starter in the middle of our season last year and did a really good job for us. Those 5 guys will start. At quarterback, obviously Grayson comes in with a wealth of accolades. Not only our starter, but a captain, and he's fun to coach. He's a football guy. He's got great experience. He's a winner. He's got grit running through his veins. He's tough. And again, another guy with a chip on his shoulder. Wasn't recruited at this level out of high school in Charlotte, and now comes in with an opportunity to play against a lot of coaches that didn't recruit him. And it's fun to be a part of that with the guy that's a 3-time player of the year in his league. And very humble, very humble guy. The backfield and the receiver room, tight end room, all those rooms have really been made over through the portal and through development. But Jordan Waters, excited he's here. Obviously did damage to us a year ago, so it's nice to have him on our sideline. But he's a complete player and does a lot of good things with and without the football. Kendrick Raphael, gained 10 to 12 pounds in the off season and did a nice job improving throughout training camp. Hollywood Smothers, really athletic, brings some things to the table back there as a change of pace and a kickoff returner. Does some good things as a receiver out of the backfield. And you've heard me talk about Duke Scott. Duke's going to be a really good back for us. Physically he's ahead of the curve. And once he gets in these games and starts playing, I think you'll see why we're excited. And DeMarcus Jones is a utility knife. Jordan Poole, those guys do a lot of things for us. Justin Jolie, who we actually played against a year ago in the opener, another guy. I'm glad he's on our sideline. He has a really good fall camp. Presents a bigger body that can run and catch. Juice Farine has improved a ton. Really proud of Juice and his growth in the offseason. I think those two guys can, take advantage of reps and keep each other fresh. You'll see on the depth chart at our big tight end position, Matt McCabe has really done a good job for us on the edges. He's playing guard, he's playing tackle, he's playing tight end. He can do a lot of things. And then Isaiah Shirley plays both ways for us. You'll still see that with Isaiah. He's not listed that way, but he will be able to do that still. And then Dante Daniels and Reed Mitchell, those five guys allow us to do some things in heavier sets in the run game and in protection. And then the overhaul, in the receiver room. I'm proud of Dakari and his development, his growth. He came on towards the end of the season last year and became a bigger target, and he's always been a good blocker for us. And then you add the competition that we added there with Noah Rogers and Wesley Grimes, Keenan Jackson, Terrell Anderson on the outside. They're doing a really good job competing. We'll be able to have a nice rotation. In the slot, KC and Jalen Coit and Jonathan Paylor. So again, another room that has competition in it. And we're going to be able to rotate. We're going to need to be able to rotate, in these games. And now it's just about consistency. You got a lot of guys, and so who's going to be the most consistent performer? And that's what games are about. It's finding that out. You have what you think is going to happen coming out of practice, and then what actually happens coming out of games. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. But Coach and I and his staff have done a really good job evolving and tweaking our system, looking at our talent, how that's changed, and how our offense needs to change based on the talent. What are our strengths? Where can we get better? And I think, he and Coach Roper do a great job with the pass game. He and 2J with the run game. And so Coach and I's oversight and experience and his creativity, along with those guys, it's fun to be a part of that. On defense, fifth straight year with the same staff, led by Tony Gibson, and excited for that continuity. And I know those guys have another chip on their shoulder about just the lack of respect maybe they get with losing one player that was so good, and how are they going to make up for that player's loss. There's a lot of guys that want to show that to everybody. On the D-line, it's a pretty similar to group with a few additions. Davin Van, Trevally, our starting defensive ends, Brandon Cleveland, our starting nose, and then you've seen Noah Potter, you've seen Red Hibbler. Both guys played well for us last year. Isaiah Shirley towards the end of the year. And then, really happy for DJ Jackson, nose guard. He's been hurt for his entire career at NC State. He's healthy now. Had a really good training camp. Excited for him. He brings a change of pace in there really quick. And then Chaz Wallace, who we brought in from the portal, is getting better and better. And so we've got some depth there. At linebacker, Sean Brown makes the transition from safety very seamless, and brings speed to that position group, toughness. Caden Fordham had a great camp, and Mike, returning starter, and Betty, who's played inside and outside. So we've got three guys with playing experience there, and then the backups are the guys that we really need to get ready, with Jalen Parker, Kelvon McBride, and Kamel Bonner. All three of those guys have had good camps, gotten a lot of reps in camp, but not game reps. The safety room really has a lot of change in it. We added in that second portal window to help us with the depth there, with Bishop Fitzgerald returning as a starter, Evan Boykin returning but not being healthy yet. So Donovan Kaufman, we call DK, coming in from Auburn as our free safety. Jihad Carter coming in as a nickel from Ohio State. Marcus Cooley, a nickel coming in from Maryland. KJ Martin, who can play free and strong. And then Trenta Hinton moving from corner to safety. That room's completely different. And so looking forward to watching those guys play. There's depth at those positions. At corner, I feel really good. Aiden's in the best place he's been. And obviously he's played well. But he's in a really good place right now. Brandon Cisse can play a lot of positions for us in the back end. He's really a good football player. Corey Coley, another transfer from Maryland, and Devon Marshall. Those two guys were both experienced players at their previous institutions. So we've got 4 guys at corner that can play, and then Jackson Vick has really improved. You know, a guy that was hurt on and off last year has really stepped up and improved. That can help us on special teams. And all defenses now are rotations. You know, I mean, you're playing against sometimes 80 to 90 snaps in a game, so you're going to be rolling guys in and out of the game. And so we look at, you know, some of these twos as starters in our heads because they're going to play 20 to 40 snaps based on rotation. And so even though you have a 2 deep with a starter to back up, a lot of times you'll see guys playing equal snaps. Lastly, the special teams, Kanoa Vinacet, really impressed with his consistency, his mental makeup. You know, he's a guy that really does a good job with his routine. He's the same guy every day. He's got a smooth swing. Coach Goebel calls him the Freddie Couples of kickers. Just got a really nice leg swing that's consistent, that he can repeat and repeat. And it's got good strength. He made a 53-yarder in a scrimmage. Caden Nooncaster returns. Aiden Arias returns, who snapped in our bowl game. We brought in Jake Mann, who was a snapper at App State last year. And him and Aiden have had a great competition. You'll see both of them probably in the game. Colin Smith returns. Colin's been here for a long time as our kickoff guy. And as returners, Jalen Coyd and Casey will be out there in punt return situations. And then Hollywood will be our kickoff returner. So that takes you through the entire lineup.